One day in band class, Robbie asked Mr. Schulman, "Mr. Schulman, what's the history about the saxophone? I want to know more." That's a great question, Robbie. Let's dive into the history of the saxophone. The history of the saxophone can be traced back over 150 years. Although this seems like a long time, the saxophone is one of the newer instruments in the musical spectrum. It was invented by and named for Adolphe Sax. He was an expert instrument maker and talented musician. The saxophone was patented on March 20th, 1846. It has since become a necessity in every band due to its tonal beauty and versatility. Sax grew up in the trade of instrument making. By the age of 6, Sax had already become an expert in it as well. Sax, being the musician he was, became aware of the tonal disparity between strings and the winds. The strings were being overpowered by the winds, and the woodwinds were being overblown by the brasses. Sax needed an instrument that would balance the three sections. His answer to the problem was a horn with the body of a brass instrument and the mouthpiece of a woodwind instrument. When he combined these two elements, the saxophone was. The first saxophone was displayed for the first time in 1841 to the famous composer Hector Berlioz. He was amazed at its versatility, tone, and control of dynamics. Soon to follow was the creation of an entire saxophone family, 14 different saxophones in all. Each differed by size and pitch. Many of these variations, however, are seldom used or have become obsolete. Saxophone finally became known as an integral part of all bands in 1845. This is the year of the famous Battle of the Bands. That day, the saxophone was officially introduced into the French Army Band and soon to all other bands. Composers began to write music for the saxophone, but it wasn't until about 75 years later that the saxophone began to be used to play dance music. However, due to the saxophone needed to be altered. Originally, the sax was designed to have a smooth, mellow, and balanced tone. This had to be changed so it could compete with the blaring trumpets, noisy drums, shuffling feet, and loud talking that was accompanied the surroundings of the early 20th century dance bands. The mouthpiece of the sax was made smaller and more parallel. This gave the sax a loud, obnoxious sound needed for jazz and dance music. Since this metamorphosis, the saxophone has become thought of primarily as a jazz instrument. Today, many people enjoy the wonderful music produced by the saxophone. The beautiful sound of a sax quintet or blaring jazz soloist can be heard all around the world. The saxophone has become a part of almost every style of music. It is being played everywhere from nightclubs to football fields. The saxophone is truly one of the greatest musical instruments in our existence.